What is up, everybody? Welcome back to IGN's live show from Comic-Con, brought to you by this beautiful phone, huh? Look at that. Samsung. They make quality phones. But let's talk about quality video games. You know what's hot? That Batman. Let's talk about Batman Arkham Origins. Woo! Eric Holmes, Roger Craig Smith, Troy Baker. How the hell are you, gentlemen?
Great.
Staying busy?
A little bit.
Now, Eric, you make Batman with your bare hands. Just you. You're the one behind this game.
I chisel him from granite.
Oh, really? You just see the slab of marble, and you're just like, that's
I just
the
use
case
pure hate to punch his shape out. Of the
Wow. Okay, that's intense. And then Mr. Craig Smith, I
Yes.
believe the notes say, you're Batman. You're
yes.
the Batman this time.
He's a character.
Okay.
I
don't
portray
know
in a
much
video
about
game
him.
that Eric has made out of clay.
Okay.
With his bare hands. It's going well.
And then Troy, you are his assistant?
Yes,
Is that, oh,
I am
okay.
his
No, you're
assistant.
Joker. You're the
Yeah,
Joker.
There's that.
How do you guys like just, putting people out of jobs? Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill. They don't need work anymore, huh? No.
Come on.
We knew that comparison was going to happen. I mean, even us, we're huge nerds.
Yeah.
We wanted to.
Yeah, you look like it.
I
Walked off a Gap ad.
a Gap ad. Do we have branding for Gap?
like
No, we don't. We have Samsung. Galaxy S4.
So I mean, we knew that the people were going to draw those comparisons, and I think you and I both, just kind of going into this, we wanted there to be a distinction between those, but we also wanted it to point to those characters. But we just more than anything want those characters to show through.
Yeah.
Not just.
Sure. Batman Arkham Origins, a prequel to what we know already about the Arkham universe. We've seen, in Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. Eric, similar to them stepping in, taking on these iconic roles, you guys are stepping in from WB Montreal here. You're stepping in to make some games yourself.
That's right.
What about that? Rocksteady, all of a sudden, there had been a lot of bad Batman games for a while, and then they came out and made two really good ones.
Well, following up to the most highly reviewed games of all time is
Cakewalk.
it's what I do every day.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. The games that Rocksteady have made, they're not only great Batman games, they're great games regardless of what property you add in there. And you won't find bigger fans of those games in our studio.
So how did it come to be? How does that come up that you guys did they have the idea for Origins and had to find a developer to do it? Did WB come try to find people?
I wasn't actually there when the whole project kicked off. They were looking for a creative director that would fit the bill, and they knew they were doing a prequel title.
Sure.
And somehow I turned up and started shaping it. So there really wasn't a lot known about it at that point. I guess it was the notion of a prequel was there, and there was many different forms, and we chiseled on it really quickly. And by about Christmas of 2011, we had our timeline down, we had our core cast, we had the main threads of our plot kind of nailed down, and we spent most of 2012 making it real.
Yeah. Now, Roger.
Yes.
How do you go about coming at this character of Batman? Again, Kevin Conroy had done it for the whole animated series, a bunch of cartoons, and then now to jump into the games. How do you do that and feel like I don't do an impression of what's come?
That's an interesting. I mean, from the get-go, it was we worked extensively on the voice print at the earliest stages of this, but it was never really about. I'm going to rip this off because you've been using this early on today. There was a horizon that we knew we kind of had to sort of keep in our sight there.
Right.
But it wasn't that we were going to do an impression. It wasn't that we were going to do anything, to where we're trying to sort of rehash something that's already been done.
Yeah.
Since it's a prequel, we were coming at it from a fresh perspective, but still needing to pay homage to where we knew we kind of had to go.
Yeah.
And I say this, it's an absolute collaborative effort, working with Eric, working with Amanda Wyatt, our voiceover director, and even working with other actors while you're in the middle of scenes, trying to find out how far do we want to push this before we start to feel like this is not the character. This isn't the performance we've heard before as much as it was, no, this is not true to the character. And he's at a different stage in his career from what we've seen previously, so we've got some leeway to kind of mess around, but we still want to stay within the character's parameters, not so much trying to worry about, does this sound like what they've heard before?
Right.
But also not wanting to completely alienate. I've made the joke, I went British and effeminate for my first pass on it.
Give me that Batman. Give me that Batman.
Don't do that! It was off, apparently. But thankfully Eric was there to say, pull it back.
Dial it back a little bit, just a little, a smidge.
Don't do that! So much. And then we dialed it in from there.
Yeah.
I think fans are gonna love it.
I think one thing that really worked out with these guys is Origins is about first times, first meetings, the first time Batman encounters certain ideas in the Arkham universe, and certainly the first time these characters come together. And I think one thing that really helped with these guys here was it was the first time for them too.
Yeah.
You know, and so that newness translates to the drama too.
Yeah.
So you can really feel it for these characters that they're undergoing really pivotal experiences for themselves, and it's the first time these ideas are occurring to them, the first time these relationships are forming. And so I think that was not necessarily an intentional win through that, because we were really looking to try and make these characters youthful.
Yeah.
But the newness really paid off.
Troy, you're having what I like to call a banner year. First off, you play Podcast Beyond 300, but you're also in this game, Bioshock Infinite, in this game, The Last of Us.
Yeah.
How does approaching a role like Joel in The Last of Us differ from approaching the Joker, like this super iconic character everybody has an idea about?
Well, and I think that's the main point of contention, is that with a character like Joel with The Last of Us, there's no preconception. This is something that's created. It's a brand new IP. It's a brand new character in a brand new world with a brand new story. With someone like Joker, it's been iterated on over the last 60 years.
Yeah.
So you've had so many people that have stepped in. Everyone from Cesar Romero to Jack Nicholson to Heath Ledger to Mark Hamill. So I think I kind of realized early on there's nothing new that I could bring to this. The only thing that I could do is find this space between what those other performances have done and what those other iterations have done, and dance within that and kind of find a unique part of the character, but not try to reinvent the wheel. And like Roger said, there's this star on the horizon that we kind of had to steer our ship towards, because we knew that we wanted this Arkham game to point to those Arkham games and to point at those characters because they've resonated so well with people and fans that it would really be a discredit to our own self to not do that. So it was just kind of being comfortable with who those characters already are, and then just finding some new, fresh perspective and really exploring that space.
Just to recap, Eric made this with his bare hands.
Yeah.
And Troy and I drive boats towards stars.
Yeah.
That's
We're not
and that's how
confusing
the magic
anybody
happens.
just tuning
That's-
in. Any of the people who just like the
This is not
IGN for
metaphor.
movies.
We
Right,
literally
it's
do this.
Clay ships stars.
Clay Ship Stars. It's the next video game
Clay-
that he's
Clay Ship
starring in again. Clay Ship Stars.
That's an
He's
iPhone game right now.
Coming
From Warner Brothers Interactive. Clay ship stars.
You guys just had a panel today.
We did. It was fun.
Announced this new Copperhead. Copperhead, another one of the characters in the game.
That's right.
Why introduce Copperhead?
Wow.
Wow.
It's kind of an aggressive question.
Was it? Did I ask it aggressively?
I think so. It was
Eric, you why introduce Copperhead? See my range? Come on. Now.
Nice.
Why not? I mean, we were looking for a cast of diverse characters in terms of their abilities, in terms of the sort of encounters that we'd have. And in this particular one, we wanted a character who could be quite creepy around Batman and be predatory around him. And so Batman inherently is, he's an apex predator, right? He's the guy who's sitting on the gargoyle, looking down on the guys making the deal. And wasn't there a Penny Arcade comic where they had Solid Snake creeping along with his pistol, and then the camera pulls back above him, and there's Sam Fisher up above him doing the kicks against the walls, and then up above him there's Batman looking down. So we needed someone that brought something new to help Predator Batman, and that's the role that Copperhead really fills. So why this form of Copperhead? We were really excited about getting that Predator aspect of things, but we really wanted a form of the character that was very appealing and interesting and new. And the original character, there's been, I think, 3 versions of Copperhead in the comic books.
Yeah.
There's one which is a guy in a snake suit, another one which is a guy in a snake suit, and a third one which is a guy who got magically transformed into a snake.
Right? My favorite.
So, we liked the whole connection with the creepy movement, with the contortionism, with the poison use, and all those things worked really well. But the form of it was something we wanted to play with.
Was it, I mean, we talk about the intimidation level here of doing all these different things, but, the thing about the Rocksteady games where they had brought in so many villains, for your game, you were like, all right, well, I'll see how many villains I can put in there. And you're like, we're going to bring eight assassins. You revealed Deathstroke, Deadshot, and now Copperhead. Were you worried when you had that idea of they've already used so many people, I don't want to bring back Two-Face,
There's definitely thoughts about that, but I think the unique thing about the Origins setting is when we realize a character, Bane, for example, we're not showing him in the same form that he's been seen before. We know that the Bane in the other games, he's this giant, very muscular character.
Right.
He's huge. He's almost deformed from the amount of venom that he's presumably used. But as you look at the Bane in our game, he's much closer to his roots. If you look at the Vengeance of Bane comic book, he's much closer to that design, that version of that character when he first appeared in the landscape. And we know from these other games where he's going to get to.
Yeah.
But there's a story to tell in terms of how he starts getting there. So I think with every one of the characters we brought back, we've tried to add something new, refresh them,
Sure.
rewind them, and with other ones that are entirely new characters that are new to the Arkhamverse, like Copperhead.
Nice. Speaking of adding things to the mix, ladies and gentlemen, you're part of the show. Tweet at IGN, hashtag SDCC. You get your question right on the air, just like this one's about to pop up here in 2 seconds. There it is. Zach tweets and he says, is this the most pressure Troy, and he includes Roger in the tweet, you guys have ever
Then
had
I'll go
in a
ahead and
role?
answer that.
All right, good.
Please.
Yes, this is the most pressure Troy Baker has ever had in a role. With Joel and Booker. Yeah, that's
Is
what
it
I
the
want.
most pressure you've ever had? Both y'all. No, but start with Roger. We've been pushing Troy around.
It's so good, dude. I don't know why you're even asking. Why? What did you hear?
You're in these Assassin's Creed games. You've
What's that?
been in big games. You're in these Assassin's Creed. We haven't gone over your record here, your rap sheet. I know. Next week on Up at Noon, everybody.
Literally a week.
We didn't know he'd be on the show when I put that Up at Noon. But no, Ezio as well.
You and I we laughed about this because I mean the reality of when you got the characters, it's kind of one of those things where like, yeah, man, I booked. Oh, I booked this
crap.
role. Okay, time to get to work.
Yeah, I think we're both afraid, even like 60, 70% of the way through the game, that we were just going to get fired. Like every session we came in, like, let's talk. Let's
how
talk.
am I
Go ahead,
doing?
go ahead and come on in here, and don't ever come back. But it was, yeah, there's been a lot of pressure, and we knew that there was going to be lovers, there was going to be haters, and what's been really cool to see is that so far, with just the little bit that people have seen, because it's been a lot of character reveals and showing the world and some gameplay things, but as far as hearing those voices coming out there, it's been this kind of slowly getting into that pool. And so far, people are digging it. And again, I think it's because the characters are so well designed and it's so true to the Batman lore, and that comes from Eric
This
and
old
from
guy
Jeff
over
and,
here, look
and
at him.
everybody at
And
Warner
there's all
Brothers.
those
Chip off the
hands,
marble
and there's
block.
Exactly, or
130
the
guys
clay.
right behind me
You know.
in Montreal.
No, you just take the credit.
There's like 150 people, back at Warner Brothers Montreal and everyone else that's involved in making this, and every one of them is a very, very passionate diehard fan, and so that's what's shining through in the game.
Now, we talked about this panel. Diehard fans. Steve Butts came back. He was talking to me about video games and what he'd seen from the show. The news he broke out of your panel was 2 things he found interesting. Number 1, they asked you at the panel, will there be a Robin? You guys said no, there's no Robin in this game. Will there be a Batgirl? You're like, oh, I can't talk about anything, blah, blah. Is Batgirl in this game? You want to expand on this a little bit more? What does all this mean? Was that a good Eric impression? I thought.
Well, it's of a
Having some technical
microphone
difficulties.
working right.
I'll give you an exclusive.
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ready for your exclusive?
Yeah.
There's no Batgirl in this game.
No Batgirl in this game. Someone over in tech call Steve and tell him to stop writing that article, please.
I just saw 4 guys run towards a telephone booth.
I was going to say, right? Like, I got a scoop for you, everybody. And then the other one I thought interesting wasn't news so much as that they asked you about a Batman Beyond game, and the crowd went wild and stuff. Like, is there another superhero property out there right now for this whole table of nerds that you can think of that has as many permutations as Batman and that everybody loves so freaking much?
And I think that's the distinction. I mean, we've seen a lot of different changes and almost, things have become so derivative of what they originally started out to be. But Batman, I think it's because the lore is so strong and it's so steeped in tradition that it allowed, we were just even talking about the Earth Zero thing, where it was a complete juxtaposition of every Batman, staple canon that you've seen, and it's just so well and so strong, you're like, yes, I can completely believe that that's the way that Alfred would be. Batman Beyond, I loved it, and there were some people that were like,
They're stupid. Those people are stupid.
Those people are stupid. No, they were communists. But because when that show came out, it was great. But I, as a fan, I would love to see Batman Beyond. I think that'd be fantastic. I'm staring at you.
What other
Eric.
properties would you like to see?
Yeah.
I'll make a list.
Okay, good. Yeah, I want a Batgirl game and I want a Batman Beyond game and stuff. But that's the whole thing. There's so much to do with Batman, and you guys are doing it.
Yeah.
You're living
With his bare hands.
the dream with your bare hands.
October 20th.
We're really excited about this game, and I can tell you what, as a game developer, we effectively spend years in our man cave, right? Our big communal man cave, and we're making this game, and we're playing a very broken game most of the time. Oh man, there's this problem, this doesn't load, there's this bug. Oh, look at that character, he's upside down, or their hair is missing, or whatever. There's all sorts of problems. And then just around the time when it gets good, people say, stop, okay, start on another one. And so it's really gratifying coming to something like Comic-Con.
Yeah.
You get to see the passion that the gamers have for the game and how much they want to play it and learn more about it. It's very invigorating, and it's not really something you get anywhere else in games because you're generally in your cave playing the busted one. And so I just want to give my enthusiasm for Comic-Con and for all the guys that came to the panel and really cheered for the game.
What was your takeaway from E3? Like, obviously, that was the first time for a lot of press to play it, right? And there was a lot of press generated about it.
We won a bunch of awards there actually at the show. It was great. Like, it was definitely
awards.
Somewhat terrifying going in there, but it was great for people to hear both of these guys and see how we were treating these characters and to play the game, feel the controls. There was a bunch of people who I think were cautiously optimistic, if not concerned, about us as a new studio.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And it was a great validation because everyone who came in there and played it said, "Okay, I was worried before. No, I'm not. Now I want to know more." And so that was a great validation.
Well, a lot more to know, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be covering it at IGN. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming.
Always a
Mr.
pleasure.
Craig Smith, I'll see you on Up at Noon soon, huh? Everybody should watch Up at Noon. Please watch Up at Noon. Don't touch me. I said quad.
Come here. What was that?
I don't know. I'm touching you. I'm saying I enjoy your company.
It's kind of awkward. I mean, wasn't
All right, everybody put your hands on the table. Here we go.
Go,
Get in there.
Batman
Get in
on
there.
three.
Get your hands. This is an invite. This is an invite.
Form of. Don't say it. Go, Batman!
Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
so poorly
I gotta talk to the camera now.
really